Hello to the team at New Heights North. My name is Jeff Bradley, and I work with businesses to get their websites ranked higher on Google search. And I wanted to make you this quick video to show you a couple of really simple things you can do to your website that will greatly improve your Google ranking and multiply your monthly revenue. And I'm going to show you some key numbers and metrics from inside your top competitors who are on page 1 to show you why they are currently outranking you and what needs to be done for you to close that gap so you can beat them in the rankings. So first, I checked your rankings, and using the search words landscapers, Bellingham, Washington. By the way, landscapers is a very high traffic volume keyword right now. I find that you are on page 7. This morning you were in the middle of page 7, but since this morning you've dropped down to the bottom. So we need to get you bumped up in the rankings. According to Google, 92% of people who search on Google never look past page 1. So all of these back pages, 2 through 7, virtually nobody is seeing you. So as I said, we need to get you bumped up in the rankings and ultimately onto page 1, which will multiply times 10 at least the number of people who will see you. And in fact, being on page 1 can literally triple or quadruple your monthly revenue. That is how important it is and powerful it is to be on page 1 of Google, because that is where all your future customers are. So here's how we can get you headed in that direction. So the very first thing Google looks at when ranking a website is your title tag. Now these blue lines of text are the title tags, and here's yours. Got you highlighted. The title tag tells Google what it is that you want to rank for, and it's also telling Google that these are the very keywords or search words that you want people to use in their search to find you with. Now, the problem I see here is that nobody searching for your services would ever even know to use your business's name in their search. So let me show you how critically important it is to get this title tag correct. If I copy yours as is, click copy, open up a new tab, and I'm going to paste it in the search bar. Paste and go. Watch what happens when I use your title tag word for word as it is. Boom, you come up number 1 on page 1 of my new search because I used the search words that you are telling Google that you want to be found with. But again, the problem is that nobody searching for your services would ever even know to use your business's name in their search. So that's how critically important it is to get the title tag correct. Now, the correct format for a title tag, the way Google wants to see it, is, and it's made of 3 components. Number 1 is your niche, which in your case is landscaping. And then the second component is your location, which is Bellingham in your case, and number 3 is your business's name. So the perfect title tag for you would be landscaping or landscapers. They're both very high traffic keywords. I used landscapers. Landscapers dash Bellingham, Washington dash New Heights North Landscaping. So that would satisfy Google's format and what it likes to see. Now, this leads me to the second thing that Google looks at when trying to rank you, and that is your H1. Now, the H1 is a line of text that's on your website that also tells Google what it is that you want to rank for, and it also contains the keywords that you want people to use to find you with. Now, the H1 needs to match your title tag exactly. So if we go back to your website, I'm going to open up this scanning tool, and it tells us again, here's your title tag, the blue line of text, and we come down and we find that your H1 is design, transform, enjoy. Now, problem number 1 here is that the H1 is not matching your title tag at all. So this is confusion issue number 1 for Google. Actually, number 2, Google is already confused regarding your title tag, because Google is not quite clear what it is that you want to rank for. Now there's no matching H1, so there's no one-to-one correspondence here. And again, nobody searching for your services would ever type in to their search design, transform, enjoy. So add these two things together, and Google is confused about what it is that you want to rank for. So when that happens, consequently, Google doesn't know who to direct to you in a search, and instead will red flag and demote your website, or at least hold you back from rising up in the rankings. So these two fixes alone would have a huge impact on your Google ranking, because they would begin to create a crystal clear channel of communication between your website and the Google algorithm. So these two fixes alone would, as I said, would have a huge impact. Now, once Google is clear on what you want to rank for, the next thing that Google looks at is your backlink profile. And as you probably know, backlinks are when an outside website is linking to your website. And whenever an outside website does that, that website's ranking power, a portion of that ranking power is transferred to your website. So the higher the ranking power of the website that's linking to you, the more ranking power is transferred to you. So Google uses this metric to measure your website in comparison to your competitors' websites, to find out where you stand in comparison to the websites that are grabbing all the business on page one. And we can use this information to see, like I said, where you stand in comparison to them, and to see what needs to be done to close the gap between you and them, and what it will take to overtake them in the rankings. So what I did here is I used a scanning tool to take a look at your current backlink profile. New Heights North, here you are. You have 3 backlinks from 3 referring domains. And of these 3, 67% of them, I don't know how that's calculated, but they are do follow, which means that they are transferring some ranking power to you. So that's just a little over half. I mean, that means, like, I would guess 2. So 2 of these 3 are transferring any kind of backlink or ranking power to you. Now, Google uses these metrics to calculate your overall domain ranking. And the domain rating is on a scale from 0 to 100. And it's a measure of where you stand in comparison to your top competitors on page 1. So currently, you have a domain rating of 0, which is, well, it leaves us some work to do. Put it that way. Now, let's go to the first competitor on page 1 for landscaping in Bellingham, and that is Whatcom Landscapes. And we see that they have 268 backlinks. 94% of them are transferring some kind of ranking power to them. But these 268 backlinks are only coming from 11 different domains. So each one of these 11 is linking a whole lot to them, which seems kind of odd. Google thinks it's odd as well, because it's calculating Whatcom Landscapes to only have a domain rating of 6. Generally, when you're on page 1 of Google, you've got a domain rating, it could be up in the 20s, 30s, 40s, and higher. So this tells me a couple of things. Number one, there's red flags being raised in Google's mind about this relationship here. Doesn't seem quite organic and natural. And also, it's telling us that the competition to get to page 1 for landscapers in Bellingham is not that steep of a climb. I mean, you are well within striking distance of this, is what we can gather from this information. Now, let's take a look at competitor number 2, which is Puget's Construction and Landscape, Whatcom. They've got 18 backlinks, far less than the number 1 position, but it's still getting them to on page 1. They've got 14 referring domains. That's a little bit more healthy relationship here. Google calculates them to have a 3.3 domain rating. So, you being at 0, you are looking uphill at a domain rating of 6 and a domain rating of 3.3. And as I said, this is not that far out of reach for you. This is well within striking distance. If we developed a well thought out and executed campaign, this is within striking distance for you within a reasonable amount of time. I'm thinking like a couple of months at the most. So I wanted to show you all these things to just kind of give you some context, give you an idea where you stand in comparison to your competition, which is really not that steep. So it would be a tremendous benefit for you, of course, to be on page 1 of Google. Let's go back to page 1. And this kind of gives you a context of where you stand and what it would take to get you there. As you can see, here's page 1. The first thing you see on page 1 is the map section. Now, it's good to be in the map section. However, it's primarily intended for businesses that have a brick-and-mortar physical store location, because people need to see a map to know how to drive there. And only 12% of people ever look or ever click on the map section, because they are looking for a physical location. And I don't think you have a physical store location. It doesn't look like it to me. If I'm mistaken about that, then apologize for that, but it appears that you don't. So we can certainly get you ranked in the map section because it's good to have the name recognition, but it's not that big of a factor. They're only capturing 12% of the traffic, and those are going to people that are looking for a business that they can drive to, a store of some kind. Next, you've got all of these directories here, and they're taking up most of page 1. The directories, a little known secret, is only, I was going to say only 30% of people ever look in the directories, but actually it's not even as high as that. There is a psychological bias against directories that Google has surveyed. People tend to skip the directories for most professional home service type businesses like yours. They want to see a real organically ranking business, and they tend to skip over the directories. So what's left is just those couple of competitors that we discussed already. And you can see that they are well within reach of you, within striking distance of a good, well thought out campaign. So I wanted to point these things out to you. Now, there are many more ranking factors that Google looks at and tracks and measures when ranking a website. But these top ones that I've just discussed with you are the foundation, and everything is kind of built upon that. So I just wanted to give you a quick overview of those basic metrics, so you can kind of see what the foundation of your ranking power looks like, and where you stand in comparison to the competition. So if you'd like to know more about this and some of those other ranking factors too, just reply back and let's have a quick chat about it. I'd be happy to answer all your questions, because this is what I do. I get businesses ranked onto page 1 of Google and ultimately into those top 3 spots, which will automatically triple or quadruple your monthly revenue. So just reply back and let me know, and I look forward to talking with you. And I apologize for the length of the video. I only wanted it to be about 5 minutes, so I went way over time, but I appreciate your time, and I hope you're having a great day. Take care. Talk to you soon. Bye now.